Hey everybody, Dragonfire here, and it is time for my review of Hannibal. Alright, I have gotten to the third movie in the Hannibal Lecter franchise with Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, and now Hannibal. So, I had this 2-pack on DVD that's got Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal, and I also afterwards got this 3-pack on Blu-ray that has the original trilogy of Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal, the original trilogy of Hannibal Lecter movies. Um, so yeah, this is something where um, um, I just watched these movies again. Now I'm reviewing Hannibal. Um, the movie. So this takes place like 10 years later, and I think it came out 10 years later. So I think the first movie came out in 91 and the second movie in 2001. Um, so, um, uh, yeah, so 10 years later, Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs, she is a trainee, but by the time we get to Hannibal, she's a this full blown FBI agent, and she's been fairly successful. But then she has a bus go wrong, and the way the movie plays it out, it's totally not her fault that the bus goes wrong, and but she ends up being like the fall guy for it, the fall person. She ends up taking the heat for the bus gone wrong, which really damages her career. But then she gets back on the Hannibal Lecter case and starts trying to track down Hannibal, who's been missing since the end of the second film, the end of Silence of the Lambs. He's been missing, and so she's tasked with trying to track Hannibal down. This really changes up the style from the previous two movies, where Hannibal is in prison for most of the movies until the end of the second movie when he breaks out. Um, it it really changes up the style and allows them to get free. We see no, it sees what Hannibal is like when he's on the run from the law and when he's hiding out and when he's you know out traveling and doing stuff. And yeah, I mean, this is Hannibal on the loose, and he's allowed to do get away with whatever he wants or needs to. um Clarice is trying to track him down again. She's having her internal struggle with the FBI and so forth. Um, and let's see, what else can I say about this movie? Okay, there's a little side plot with one of Hannibal's previous victims, Mason Verger. This little thing doesn't make sense to me. I do believe that they mentioned that one or two of Hannibal's victims lived in the previous movie. I forget whether they say one or two. For some reason, it feels like they say two, but in this movie, they say there's only one. And it's weird, like, once you have a victim live through an attack, then you know who you're looking for, right? So, it doesn't really make sense. And even when they show the flashback with Mason Verger, um, he definitely knew who his attacker was. He knew who Hannibal Lecter was. So it's really hard to explain, like, why he didn't tell the police. Why Will Graham kind of stumbles onto Hannibal Lecter and catches him. Maybe Mason Verger was in a coma right after the attack and couldn't tell the police what he knew. Or maybe just for whatever reason he chose not to. It's really not explained of how the police didn't catch him sooner, or catch him with with Verger's help. If Verger knew who he was, he knew who Hannibal Lecter was. So, they at least could have gotten him on a very serious assault charge, maybe even attempted murder, with Verger. So why is it implied that that's not when they caught Hannibal? Anyway, we see Barney Stinson, I believe his last name is Stinson. We see Barney from the previous couple of movies, played by a different actor in Manhunter, but the same actor played him in Silence of the Lambs and in Hannibal. And in fact, the same actor returns, in case I forget to mention it, he returns for Red Dragon. In Manhunter, the actor is there, but he's playing a different character. He plays a cop in Manhunter. And the Bernie character is there, but played by a different actor. So they have a different actor playing Bernie. Yeah. So, this is one that I enjoy. I know a lot of people didn't like it. It definitely was not as beloved as Silence of the Lambs. That's the thing is, I feel like Manhunter flew under most people's radar. It really blew up and became popular with Silence of the Lambs. When Hannibal came out, after 10 years, I feel just for most people it just didn't live up to their expectations. They were wanting to see the Hannibal Lecter character return and be played by Anthony Hopkins again, since everybody loves Hopkins' performance in the first movie. But not getting Jodie Foster back to have Clarice Starling played by Julianne Moore in this movie instead of Jodie Foster, I think hurt the movie. I think fans really wanted to see Jodie Foster back. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Hannibal is in Europe at the beginning of this movie. Then when he when he gets close to getting caught in Europe, he returns to America in order to avoid getting caught. He gets kidnapped by Mason Verger, and finally there's kind of a scene at the end between Clarice Starling and Hannibal Lecter. Okay, so major spoiler alert here, but I guess in the book, Clarice and Hannibal actually end up together at the end of the novel. I'm glad they didn't go that way with the movie for the ending. They make up their own ending. Hannibal does end up getting away at the end of the movie, and Clarice does not join him. She's still very much on the good side. I feel like you could maybe make one more movie if they ever wanted to bring Anthony Hopkins back and bring back that version of the character. Of course, now there's been like 2 different TV shows, There's been Hannibal and there's been Clarice. These two different TV shows based on characters from these novels. Hannibal is very much a big reinterpretation, but it uses a lot of elements from all 4 novels and all 5 movies. But very much a reinterpretation. I never saw the Clarice TV show, and I don't know how it did. I know that they only had the rights to the Clarice character. They didn't have the rights to the Hannibal Lecter character. At least not initially. Maybe that would have changed if the TV series would have ran longer. Maybe they could have gotten the rights to the character. Who knows? So yeah, like I said, I haven't seen the Clarice TV show, but I did watch the Hannibal show. Very, very good. Taking elements from everything and kind of meshing them all together. I really enjoyed that reinterpretation. They didn't try to go back and make it a period piece and make it set closer to like the time periods that the novels are set in or the movies. They just had it start up in modern day from the time the show aired and just continued it on as a modern day retelling. Sometimes they would give things that since for that TV show they didn't have the rights to Clarice Starling, sometimes they would give things that her character did to other characters in the show, but they had like the rights to Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham and Jack Crawford and Freddie Lowndes. They even did the I believe they did the Tooth Fairy / Red Dragon character, Francis Dollarhide and everything. So yeah, they did a lot of stuff with the TV series. I thought it was a pretty cool reinterpretation where they were using ideas from the original but presenting it in a new way that audiences hadn't seen before. I don't know that there would have been any point just to present everything that the audience had already seen in Manhunter or Red Dragon, those 2 movies. They already had 2 theatrical versions of those movies, and you also already had, the novels that you could read for yourself. And Manhunter and Red Dragon are both pretty faithful to the novel and present the things that happen in the novel. So, yeah, they could present now something different and didn't have to be beholden to what had already been done before. They can present it in their own way. So, alright, yeah, check out the movie Hannibal if you haven't already seen it. I recommend this whole franchise, Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal. My next review, I'm doing them in chronological order of when they came out, so my next review will be for Red Dragon.